Hello everyone, it's Kayla from KJ and Her Books and welcome back to another video.
Curious butterflies.
You mean bread and butterflies?
Oh, yes, of course.
Today, as you can see by the title, I'm going to be doing the mid-year book freakout tag like every other booktuber is doing at the moment. But as usual with tags, I generally like to do mukbangs. I don't know why, I just feel like it's a good video to film when you're eating and talking at the same time, and I don't know, but we're going to be doing a mukbang today. So I'm actually going to be eating some spicy noodles. So I'm going to be eating these. I don't know if you've seen them before on like other mukbangers, but these are hot chicken flavor ramen noodles. So these are the chicken carbonara fire noodles, whatever. They're really freaking good, but very spicy. It's like almost at the limit of spice I can handle, but I really like them. They're really nice and tasty, and yeah, let's get into it. Right, let's hope that this isn't blurry. I know my camera likes to do that a lot. But here we are. Here are my spicy noodles. I've got egg, I've got some cheese mixed in as well, and I have a can of Coke. So let's dig in and do this tag before my food gets cold. I don't always like eating noodles with chopsticks. I don't know what it is, but I just enjoy it more. And because I've had it sitting here, the cheese has gone all hard and made the noodles go hard. Still really good though. I love noodles. Whew. The first question is the best book that you read this year so far. For this one, I think I'm going to go with The Lost Flowers of Alice Hart by Holly Ringland. This has just become one of my top 5 favourite books of all time. I absolutely loved this. It's one of those growing up stories where we follow the main character when they're younger to when they're older, and like we see their life impacted by certain things. There is massive trigger warnings for domestic abuse though, so beware when you go into it, but it is such a beautiful and heartbreaking story. It's an Australian story as well, which makes it all the more amazing. And it is also going to be a movie as well, starring Sigourney Weaver, which I'm very excited for. It deserves to be a movie. It deserves so much publicity. It's a fantastic book and I highly recommend it. These noodles are just so tasty. So question number 2 is the best sequel that you've read this year. For this one, it's technically not a proper sequel, like it's not the same story, but like it's by the same author and it's kind of done similar. I don't know, but I'm classing it as a sequel because I haven't really read a lot of sequels this year. So for this one, I'm going with The Quiet at the End of the World by Lauren James. This book was fantastic, so much better than what I had expected it would be. It's kind of like a sci-fi dystopian, and it's set in a future where a virus has pretty much eradicated fertility, so everyone that had been affected by the virus. Everyone was affected by the virus. They all became infertile, and eventually the humans are just dying out. And we're seeing the last humans that are alive and the youngest humans that are alive, and how they're sort of dealing with it and trying to make their mark on the world and discovering various different things about their lives now and about the world and the virus and the people who were affected by the virus. Really, really good story. Enjoyed it immensely. It was the perfect sci-fi read, and I don't read a lot of sci-fi, but I do like dystopian, so it was definitely a really interesting, but also kind of anxiety inducing at the same time. Number 3 is a new release you haven't read but you want to. This one I was going to put on my TBR for this month, but I didn't. It's like a book that I want to get around to if I have the chance. But that is Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've heard mixed reviews on this, so I'm kind of hesitant, but I am very excited to get to it because I loved the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo and Daisy Jones and the Six. And I know that it follows a character that was mentioned in Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo, and it's set in the 80s. But I have the audiobook for it. I'm definitely looking forward to reading it, but yes, I am hesitant because I've heard many different reviews and I'm not sure. The biggest disappointment of the year so far, unfortunately, I had to go with Second First Impressions by Sally Thorne, which she wrote The Hating Game. Absolutely, I loved The Hating Game. But this one just sort of fell flat for me. Like, it didn't have the same feel to it. Like, it did have some moments that were touching, but God, it took me a while to get through it because I just was losing interest. Like, I didn't care about the main character too much. Like, I liked the main guy, the love interest, but I didn't like her. I didn't like the setting. It was interesting, but it just didn't, I don't know, I just didn't enjoy it as much as I thought I was going to. So it disappointed me, unfortunately. I suck at chopsticks today, my God. I apologize. The next question is the biggest surprise, which I'm going with Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo because I did not think that I would like that book as much as I did. I really loved that. I listened to it on audiobook. I did the same with Daisy Jones and the Six, which is why I'm going to listen to Malibu Rising as well. But I loved the Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. It was the perfect historical fiction growing up. I loved the story of her and I loved everything about it. It was so well done. So it was definitely a big surprise because I didn't expect to love it as much as I did. Favorite new author, as previously mentioned, Taylor Jenkins Reid. I've loved everything that I've read from her so far. I reckon I'm probably going to enjoy Malibu Rising as well. She's just a really good author and she just writes these beautiful stories. She can just really tell a story. She's got great characters. And normally, like, what draws me into a book is the plot, not necessarily the characters. Like, the plot has to be interesting, otherwise I'm just not interested. But she's the kind of person who can write amazing characters that I want to know more about, that I just love. And I don't know, it's great when an author can make me captivated by a character-driven book when I don't generally like reading character-driven books that much. It's weird. Like, I'll read books that the characters are growing up and we follow their lives, like The Lost Flowers of Alice Hart. But again, like, you have to give me a good characters, really good characters that captivate me, or like a good setting or a good plot. But yeah, character-driven books on their own just don't do it for me. But for some reason, Taylor Jenkins Reid she gets it right. Oh my god, why can I not eat with chopsticks today? What is happening? Newest crush. I was thinking about this one because a lot of the books I read didn't have any characters in there that I was crushing on. Like, I haven't really read a lot of romances this year where I have met characters that I've just fawned over. So I couldn't come up with anything for this one, so we're just gonna skip it. Newest favorite character. I would have to go with Lily from It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Loved this book. Loved this character. She went through so much and her character development was amazing. Like, I felt for her in every single aspect of her life and the story that we were reading of her. She was just so well done and I loved her. I adored her. She was a beautiful character. The next one is a book that made you cry. For this one, I'm going with the previously mentioned It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. Like, I've read a lot of Colleen Hoover's books and I always go into it with the expectation that yes, it's going to be emotional. But this was emotional on a whole nother level. I didn't expect to have my heart broken and smashed into 1,000 pieces. It was such a beautiful story with so much stuff that happened that it blew me away. And I needed to know how it ended, but my god, it was a roller coaster of emotions. And it's definitely at the top of my favorite. It's definitely at the very top of my Colleen Hoover books that I've read. I think It Ends With Us is definitely one of my favorite Colleen Hoover books now. It was just a beautiful story and I don't know how she was able to write something that emotional and that heartbreaking. A book that made me happy is the next question. Which I had to go with my Manga edition of Pride and Prejudice. I loved this so much, so I left it till closer to my birthday so I could read it. And I ended up finishing it the night before my birthday. And I just had the best time reading it. It was so much fun because, like, I love Pride and Prejudice. It's one of my favorite books, one of my favorite stories. And just being able to read it in this edition and have all the illustrations, it was just like, I don't know, it was just a beautiful, chilled read and it made me laugh. It was awesome. Like, there was some very dramatic moments and beautiful illustrations. It just really made me happy and it was the perfect read for my birthday week. The most beautiful book that I've bought this year is the next question. I don't know. I haven't really bought a lot of books this year. I think it would have to be The Castle of Tangled Magic by Sophie Anderson. This was one of the books that I bought just before my birthday. And it's the third book in her series with The Girl Who Speaks Bear and The House with Chicken Legs. I think it's just cute and fun and she's got some beautiful covers and there's always beautiful illustrations in her books. So I think that is one of the most beautiful ones that I've bought this year. Next question is a book that I need to read by the end of the year. This would be anything that was given to me by Scholastic Publishing to review. I have fallen very behind in the review books, which is why I haven't asked for any more at the moment. Specifically the Twisted Tales books, like The Part of Your World and Unbirthday, I think are the ones that I was given. So I need to read those two at least by the end of the year. Hopefully earlier than that. But if I don't read them by the end of the year, then I will be very, very sad. And now I have me some Maltesers, because Maltesers are the best. Favorite book to movie adaptation is the last question. So I'm going to go with the Shadow and Bone TV series, which I still haven't finished. I've only watched like 2 episodes so far, but I really like it so far. I like what they've done with it. I like that they've done both Shadow and Bone and Six of Crows. I think they've done a really, really good job with it. Especially with the changes as well. Like, I don't hate the changes that they've made. I think they've done really well. So that is definitely one of my favourite ones this year, I believe. Alrighty guys, well, that was my lunch of noodles and the media book freakout tag. I really hope you enjoyed that. And yeah, I guess I will see you all in the next video. Bye!